For the pie crust, we basically have about 6 ingredients. We're going to put about, I'd say that's about 2 cups of coconut flour, pastry flour. We may not use all of it, but I put about 2 cups. Notice I don't measure. You know, you don't have to measure. You kind of know what 2 cups is. And always like a little cinnamon as well. Like to add that. It gives it a nice flavor. And we're going to add some coconut oil. Could put coconut. Add a little honey. Again, not using processed sugar. So we're just going to use about, not much, I'd say about 2 tablespoons of honey. Gives it a nice little flavor. Then we're going to, a little bit of salt might help a little here, just about half a teaspoon. And I always like vanilla, so I like to add a little vanilla to the actual pie mix. Then we're going to add about a quarter of a cup, half a cup of water. It's very important at this point to understand coconut flour. That's why I'm taking a little break to talk to you. With coconut flour, you don't want to just make a pie crust with coconut flour. You want to put 2 cups of coconut flour and 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And I know I said 3 eggs, but I would probably say I would put 5 eggs in to the actual crust, because what 2 cups are going to do is it's going to create more flour than you need. And it's always important to have extra flour. That's why I want 2 cups of all-purpose flour and 2 cups of coconut flour. Coconut flour absorbs a lot, so it needs a lot of moisture. So you have to make sure that for the coconut oil, it got a little cut off when I was editing, that you put in about 1/3 of a cup to 1/2 a cup of actual coconut flour. It needs a lot of coconut oil, excuse me. So make sure you have at least 1/3 of a cup. I usually put 1/3 of a cup. Sometimes I put close to 1/2 a cup of actual coconut flour. And here's the key. You want moisture in there. So you want to put 5 eggs in, because for every cup you should have 3 eggs of coconut flour. It just absorbs a lot. So you make sure you put 1/4 cup of water. And one of the surprise ingredients I have, it's actually not in the editing, but it's is I mash up a full banana, okay? And I actually put that into the pie crust, along with, I actually don't put milk in. Some people put milk in for coconut flour to give moisture, but I actually like to get vanilla honey Greek yogurt, and I take about 1/3 of a cup of that, and I put it into the actual pie crust, and it gives it a really, really good consistency and makes the pie crust actually fluffier. So some of that didn't make editing, but make sure that you put that in, and it will make, you'll have extra. You won't need all of the actual pie crust that it makes, but it's always good to have extra pie crust in case you want to make 2 pies. So I just like to have extra, or let's say it doesn't roll out right, or you know, if you're making, let's say this is for a pecan pie, but if you're making a rhubarb pie, it's always good to have extra. Sometimes you might have a lot of company, you want to make 2 pies. So it's always good to have that extra crust. It could stay in the, you know, fridge for a day or so, and then you can thaw it out and reuse it. So that's why I like to put almost 4 cups of flour. I just want to take that time to explain that. It together, and I'll show you the consistency once we get there. More or less, this is about the consistency you want. See how it all sticks together? That's kind of what you want, you know, to happen. And you mix it all together and you put it in the fridge. It'll help give it more of a base for rolling out. It's very important when you're rolling out dough. When you start seeing cracks, you basically hold the area and roll over that area to sort of fix the crack. Sometimes when you're rolling out, you might see a crack. You just hold and push, and what it does is it just sort of brings it together. See, there's a little crack right there. Now there's not. just one way to do it. Now we have to get our pan onto the dough onto the pan. I like to use the rolling pin method, and what you do is you basically roll, okay? There you go, take a little flour, okay? And then you roll back over. You lift, and you roll back over. And there you go. And you have your whole pie crust over the pan, perfectly done. You push the sides in, and we will be back in a moment. I like to sort of push down on the sides, and if you notice, like this little technique I have, and you get a beautiful pie done. And you have all this extra in a circle. You move that off. Hello folks, Dean Curry here, Cooking Healthy for You, Rising Star Enterprises for Wellbeing. Our YouTube channel, making pie today. We're going to make a strawberry rhubarb pie. That's right, strawberry rhubarb pie. It's actually not hard to make. We're going to go through the filling. Don't have to do too many positive spins on strawberry rhubarb pie other than the crust. We're going to use coconut oil and not shortening and butter. It's, as I mentioned before, it's a crust that I use. You just want, for the coconut oil, for the pie crust, you want to put it into the freezer, and as it hardens, you want to keep, stirring it and keep it loose until it turns into sort of like chips. You could also leave it on there on parchment paper, but you just put it in a mug and just keep turning it so it doesn't stick, and then it comes out in like little chips. And you use that to disperse amongst the, the pie crust. And it's just a little trick that works effectively. And we used honey, and we actually put a whole bunch of wonderful stuff in there. We used coconut powder, coconut flour, and that tends to absorb a lot. So you have to add eggs, you have to add milk. I actually add yogurt and water. And I actually put about 3 eggs in it as well, because coconut flour, though it's one of the best flours to cook with, you got to know how to manage it, and it actually absorbs a lot of moisture. So that's with the eggs, the yogurt. Not too many people put yogurt in their crust, but I do. It comes out great. And water, and I put a whole bunch of other stuff, as we mentioned already. The strawberry rhubarb is pretty straightforward. As far as the filling goes, we're not going to use cornstarch, okay? We're going to use whole wheat flour instead, and we're not going to put butter in it. We're going to use olive oil, okay? So we're just going to put this down so we could focus in on our little, I'll put that up a little bit. There we go. And we're going to bring over our... Okay, so some people like to put strawberries, rhubarb. Rhubarb is in season from about April, May to about July here in New York City, and that's orange zest. Okay, I like orange zest, and so I already added that. And we're going to, some people put 3, cups of rhubarb and put in 2 or less than strawberry. I kind of like to keep it 1-to-1. I find rhubarb to be very bitter, and of course strawberries are sweet, bitter-sweet, good combination, but rhubarb is pretty strong. So I like to do a 1-to-1, maybe 2 cups of each. And well, actually, I have the the orange zest in there. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to add a little olive oil. This is olive oil and apple cider vinegar. It's about, I'd probably say about 2 tablespoons of each, okay? And you just kind of put that in there, and you could move, let's get a piece of wood. We don't want to scratch, this baby. And you just basically move the orange zest around into the apple cider vinegar and the oil. And since we're there, we actually add 1 beaten egg in there as well, okay? Very, very important. Put this in the sink. 1 egg actually works. Some people don't put egg into it, but I think it really gives it the flavor it needs. And see how, get a close up. You see how it moves around the orange zest and everything like that. You kind of want to get that going. And believe it or not, some people like to put lemon, but again, lemon has that sort of bitter, sweet, really sweet, sort of tart taste to it. I like to use 3 squeezed oranges. Any orange will do. Oh, you don't need a pit. And I really like the taste of orange, fresh oranges in it, because I think it's not as sweet and it's not as bitter as lemon is. And so I like to use, instead of a lemon zest, I like to use an orange zest, and zest of course is the skin. And I like to squeeze 3 orange peels, little quarters cut. Then you could basically add a little honey. When I say a little, you want to work the honey in, right? So we're probably going to put like at least 1/4 cup. You know, I mean, strawberries, it depends. The strawberries I have are pretty sweet. So normally I put about 1/2 cup of honey, but I'm only going to slowly add about 1/4 cup. I think it'll be more than sweet enough. Okay. You know, you could add 1/3 cup. I better put 1/2 cup. I think that's sweet enough. Okay. I mean 1/4 cup. And I like to, see how I like to put it in slowly? Just kind of infuse it in there. Okay. That'll work. And we're going to add a little bit of salt. Okay. About 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay. Notice I do all this before I put in the actual rhubarb and the strawberries. That's sort of how I like to do it. And now we're going to add about 1 cup of strawberries. Okay. There you go. That's about 1 cup. And I just like to do everything a little at a time. Put about 1 cup of the rhubarb in. And that's about 1 cup of the rhubarb. Let me give you a little close-up of this. See how it's just, you want to sort of incorporate everything kind of slowly. Sort of how I like to do it. And you know, it's a loose, then we add the rest of the cup of the strawberries and add the rest of the rhubarb. I might actually even throw in a few more strawberries than rhubarb, but that's just me. Now you see this mixture is sort of like a little soupy. So here comes, instead of your cornstarch, actually I want to mix this a little bit more. Instead of your cornstarch, we are going to add whole wheat flour. Just a little better for you. Okay, it's a good substitute. Not putting in that much flour. Okay, just enough. And that pretty much is your mixture. Okay, it's nice and loose and it's starting up. I'll add a little bit more flour and we will be back. Use a spatula. Just sort of gives it a little, you could sort of put this all the way around. This is our fixture. I like to use a spatula. I'll tell you why. Sometimes when the rhubarb sits for a while, it starts to drain. Just bear with me. It starts to drain out a little, and so you want to use a spatula so you don't. It's not too liquidy going in. You see what I'm saying? It's just oxidizing and stuff. Yeah, I'll put that in. I always make extra, you know, I say 2 cups, but probably I have like more than 2 cups of each. You just want to always have extra. I think I may have nailed this right on the head as far as the amount of strawberry and rhubarb I need. I mean, this is like coming out the perfect amount. I think it was about 2 cups apiece. I usually make about 2.5 cups. Maybe it was more like 2 cups, or maybe this pie is just, you know, you don't want to overfill it, you know. You just kind of move it up to the sides there. You know, you don't want all this juice, although it's good it's soaking in it. And you just want to fill in the spots. And look, there's like nothing left. So it really does sort of fit in there. Look at our rhubarb pie. Wow, talk about the perfect amount. That was about 2 cups of each. Maybe a little more than 2 cups. I would say make 3 cups each, just so you have extra. You want to make sure it fits all in there, and that all fits perfectly. So that's fantastic. Okay, we will be back with the layering in 1 moment. Now, there's really not a whole lot towards, you know, making the pie crust. You lay these down, and then you, what you basically do to make the crisscross is you take every other one you see, and you pull it back like that. Okay? And then you take a little guy like this, lay him over, see? And after you lay down the one, okay, you push these back down, like so, and then you take the opposite ones, okay, boom, boom, opposite ones, and let's get a longer one. This one seems to not be long enough. Then you lay this one down, see? Then you bring these down, like so. Whoops. Bring these down like so. Okay. Alright. And you bring these back this way. You bring in your last guy. Let's make this a little longer. It's like pizza dough, you know? You just sort of make it longer. There you go. And you bring these guys in. And as you can see, you have the in, out, in, out, in, out, and that's sort of what you want. So, following the same method, there's this guy here, so no, these 3 are going to come back like so. Okay, and then we grab our next guy in here. See, this guy goes in like that, very simply. Push these off to the side. Push these down. Oops, we don't want to keep that guy there. Push this down. Push this down. Push this up. Okay. I'm going to grab another one. Maybe we'll get a skinnier one here. We'll do 2. We'll do this one. Alright. Oops. Hey, just make this one long. Move this here, like that. And move this guy up. Maybe we'll put a little skinny one in. See if we can find a skinny one. Here, I think I got a nice skinny one here. Like that. This is pretty much here, so just make this one a little longer. Then we'll push this one, and there we have it. There's our beautiful design. We basically, to make, after we do that, we take the thumb and the 2 fingers, and we basically make our little crust, you see? It's kind of cool. We're going to do that in a corner, and we will be right. And doesn't that look beautiful? You basically take your 2 fingers and you squeeze them like this, and you make this beautiful crust, boom, 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 and it makes a beautiful crust. We are going to put that in the oven. I like to keep it covered for the first 15 minutes. We're putting it at 350. Probably going to have it in there over an hour to an hour and 10, 55 minutes to 110. It depends. When it starts getting glossy on top, we're also going to take an egg yolk right now and brush, I won't show you that, brush a little egg yolk and salt and brush it over the top so it becomes nice and golden. And then we will be back when it comes back out. Well, if you don't have a brush to put the egg on top with, I'm sorry, you have to put, I put coconut oil in with the egg and a little salt. If you don't have a brush, you could very easily pat it with an egg. Pat it with a paper towel. And that will make sure it's nice and golden. And just make sure it gets all the way around. Okay. So if you don't have a brush, I do this because a lot of people actually don't have a brush. You get them online and stuff, but you could even get the inside of the crust there on the side. And a paper towel does the trick. Yep. And that will make sure that the whole top gets nice and brown. And we will be back. And here we go. Absolutely came out beautiful. Yes, we have our little parchment paper, but here's a close-up. Absolutely beautiful. Came out perfect. Nice golden brown. You can't get any better than that. And that is your rhubarb strawberry pie. Can't get any better than that. We'll just come up here for a second. I want to wish everyone the best. Making miracles happen here, cooking healthy for you. Rising Star Enterprises for Wellbeing, that is our YouTube channel. Wanted to just wish everyone the very best and staying motivated, staying pumped up. And here is your rhubarb pie, strawberry. So nice. I wish everyone the best and have a terrific day.